When you add numbers, be sure to stack them properly. Let me show you how to do that. The first thing you need to notice in this question is the word sum. And by now you should understand that the word sum indicates addition. So we have to add these two numbers. Let's see how to do that. These numbers here are not stacked properly. Now I know you're thinking, some of you might be thinking that, well, they looks like they're stacked properly. I mean, these are on top of each other and these are on top of each other. And I'm sure there's a 0 over here. And you'd be right in that sense. However, they're not stacked properly because when you're adding decimal numbers, the decimals have to be on top of each other. Now, why is that? Because when you line up when you line up the decimals, you've lined up the place values. What does that mean? What it means is that if you remember the place values, these are called the one or the wholes or the ones. And then this is the decimal. And then the first number after the decimal is called the tenths. And then we've got the hundredths and then the thousandths. And if I don't line them up properly, this is what's going to happen. You're going to have the wholes and nothing is underneath of it. However, look over here. We've got 2 wholes and above it is 2 tenths. And then here we have the thousandths and it's over the tenths of this one. And it's all messed up. So line up your place values by lining up your decimals. Once that's in place, all the principles of addition are the same. So we're going to add these up one by one. We're going to start on the right side. We're going to ask ourselves, what is 8 plus 7? It's going to be 15. So we carry the 1 and we write down the 5 below it. Then we ask ourselves, what is 6 plus 1? And the answer is 13. In the 13, we write the 3 and we carry the 1. Then we have 1 plus 2 plus 0, and that's going to make 3. And then we plop the decimal down here, and then we add 1 and 2, and that's going to make 3. How do we read this answer? This answer is 3 wholes. This decimal, if you see it, you have to say the word and. So this is going to be 3 and, say this number, 335 335 what? 335 thousandths. Why? Because you always state the value of the last place value here. So this is tenths, hundreds, thousandths. So we're going to say 335, and I'm going to squeeze it over here. We're going to say thousandths. So we have 3 and 335 thousandths. Now here's your turn. I want you to add these two up, and we'll check our answers in a moment. Assuming you paused the video, let's see how you did. So these numbers here, the way I've positioned them, they're not stacked properly. I've got the tenths over here, and there's no tenths above it. I've got this decimal floating around. This decimal's on the left side. It's a mess. So let's fix it up. We're going to push this over. You should have lined your numbers up this way. Now, some of you might have wanted to do this instead. Line them up like this. Personally, my preference is to put the longer number on the top and the shorter number on the bottom. That's just how I like it. However, there is no one right way. You could do it any way that you choose. Let's leave it like this. Since the order of these come in that sense, we're going to leave them in the same order. So now if we add these, we have a 0 here. We're going to have 0 plus 7. We're going to have 5 and 6 is 11. We're going to have 4 plus 1 plus 3 is 8. Put the decimal there and we have 1 plus 2 is 3. How do we state this number? I know I never asked you to do that in the question, but we can figure that out anyways. You should state this number as 3 and 817 thousandths.